Joking aside, maybe SJWs actually are autistic. In this video, I will be poking fun at SJW types, and I might be a little bit insulting, but all in all, this is actually not a joke. Some people like to joke about how SJWs are autistic, you know, SJWs engage in autistic screeching and etc. You know, it's kind of funny, it's a joke. But you know, in the process of making this video, I've actually stumbled upon some evidence that may suggest that maybe some of them actually are autistic. It seems that many SJWs never develop something called theory of mind, which is developed at a very young age by healthy humans and other intelligent animals. What is theory of mind? Well, it's something that you learn in the first semester of psychology, for example. Let's have a look.
This is Anne, and this is Sally. And then Sally decided to put the block in the box. And then she decided to go outside and play, where she couldn't see or hear anything, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Anne, that tricky Anne, decided to take the block and put it in the basket. Now, since Sally is outside, did she see Anne move the block? No, she didn't, did she?
No.
So, when Sally comes inside, where will she think the block is? She'll think it's in there. Why will she think it's in there? Because it's in there. Okay. Jack, this is Anne, and this is Sally. Sally decided to put the block inside the box. And then Sally decided to go outside and play, where she couldn't see or hear anything that was happening inside. Bye, Sally. Well, that tricky Anne, guess what she did?
She took it out of the box.
She took the block and put it in the basket. Did Sally see Anne move the block?
Because she was outside.
That's right.
Swinging.
That's right. She didn't see. So when Sally comes back in, where will she think the block is?
In there, but it's not. It's in there.
So she'll think it's in the box.
Yeah,
Why do you think she'll think that?
Because she put it there.
If you run such experiments adapted for your pets, you may find that your dog or your cat has a theory of mind too. So why not many SJWs? And what do I mean when I say they don't have a theory of mind? Well, I'll explain, but first let me say that I am being hyperbolic. I don't mean it very literally. Here's an example. A SJW may know the significance of the number 1488 used in some contexts. They know this because it has to do with Hitler, white supremacy, the far right, and because SJWs are obsessed with that stuff. Now, an intelligent and rational person would know that other people may not know what they know. Your average person, for example, does not know what 1488 stands for in a political context. They may think, is that the Battle of Hastings, or was that 1066? War of the Roses? Wait, Columbus. Is that when Columbus set sail? But many SJWs think that everyone knows what 1488 means. So, for example, if you are some person at some rally and you're standing next to a person with 1488 on their helmet, you must know what that means, and you must support it, and you must be a Nazi. Another example. With all the definitions of terms like alt-right and alt-left going around, and because the far left is increasingly shutting themselves off in echo chambers and refusing to talk about social and political matters with people outside their very narrow-minded quasi-cults, they don't understand that different groups use these new terms to mean very different things. Another example. Tim Pool recently made a video in which he said that the alt-left are people who are against free speech and who refuse to talk to people outside their bubble, and so on. But when I asked about this in a few online discussion groups identifying as alt-left, they said quite the opposite. They said they are the alternative, hence alt, to the section of the left that is against free speech. In other words, they saw themselves as an alternative to the people that Tim Pool said they are. Now, I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm not saying Tim Pool's right or wrong. I'm just saying that there are different definitions of these terms going around. There are also different definitions of the term alt-right being used by different groups. The far left insists that the term alt-right is synonymous with Nazism and white supremacy. But many people think of the alt-right as simply the younger, new alternative to the GOP, the old style of conservative Christian Republican schools of thought. They say they are not racist, and they are not as conservative as the Grand Old Party Republicans, but they are still right-wing. But many SJWs refuse to allow that different individuals and different members of different groups have different understandings of politically charged terms. Different people have different spheres of knowledge. Now here's an example that I see very often coming from far-left idiots. John Doe was seen talking with Nathan D'Amigo, so John Doe is a white supremacist. Now, unless it is very clear that D'Amigo is a white supremacist, and that John Doe knows that, and that John Doe agrees with that, it is not rational or sane to claim that John Doe is a white supremacist. But see, these idiots don't understand that, or they pretend to not understand that, so they have an excuse to sucker punch John Doe, or hit him over the head with a bike lock, or throw explosives at him or anyone else standing next to Nathan D'Amigo. Think I'm exaggerating? Well, I'm not. On April 15th in Berkeley, California, Antifa, BLM, No, and other far leftists physically attacked a group of people and threw explosives at them and so on, even dogs, and many of them said that all those people deserved to be attacked because they were at the same rally as someone named Nathan D'Amigo, at a point in time where no one except the far left or the far right had any idea who Nathan D'Amigo is. In other words, those people didn't know who this guy was that was standing in their group. It seems they didn't have enough intelligence or ethics to stop and think, wait, do those people agree with Nathan D'Amigo? Do they even have a clue what his views are? Let alone thinking to themselves, wait a minute, do I even know what Nathan D'Amigo's views are? All I know is that other people in my bubble claim that he's a white supremacist. Do I actually know that? So maybe I shouldn't label everyone in that park as a white supremacist, and maybe I should not throw explosives at them. But no, they don't have enough sanity, intelligence, or ethics to think these things through. In other words, they are not even at the level of a toddler who understands that other people don't necessarily have the same knowledge and beliefs as they do. Yes, I am saying they are not as smart, or as sane, or as ethical as toddlers. They do have a very similar level of emotional development. So there are people out there who say they are alt-right, and by which they mean not that they are racist, not that they think their race is somehow superior to other races, but they hold right-wing views and are just not as conservative as older Republicans. But then many people on the far left will look at that and say, oh, they identify as alt-right, therefore they're openly racist Nazis. Let's go bash them over the head. Rational and moderately intelligent people realize that if you talk to somebody that you disagree with, it doesn't mean that you agree with them. People very often have disagreements and then they talk about it. But the people on the far left are increasingly advocating for this view that you simply do not ever talk to people you disagree with. Now, to your average person, that's both insane and stupid. But to many of these people, this is just taken as a matter of fact. It's an assumption that they don't even question anymore. So, for example, if you interview somebody whose views you disagree with, suddenly you are alt-right, or you're a Nazi, you're a fascist, Tim Pool's a fascist, Dave Rubin's a fascist, etc. and so on, simply for talking with people. Okay, so where does autism come into this? Let's have a look.
So when Sally comes back from playtime, where will she look for her marble?
In the box.
In the box.
Robert should have said the basket, because that is where Sally, in her ignorance, would have thought it was. He hasn't mind-read the situation from her point of view. What is it about the autistic brain, which means that children like Robert may never be able to mind-read like the rest of us?
So there you have it, folks. I'm not trying to be insulting, I'm actually connecting dots here. I really do think that some of the issue with SJWs is their lack of ability to understand the thoughts and feelings of other people, which correlates with autism. And yes, I am suggesting that the problem with some of these people is that they are in fact autistic. I do not mean that as an insult or a pejorative. I really am hypothesizing here that perhaps some of them are autistic, and that is why they seem to be so narrow-minded. So what do you think, folks? Leave me a comment. You can yell at me if you think that I'm being an ableist by making fun of SJWs with autism, or whatever you want to do, or you could just leave me autistic screeching comments if you want.